All right, so the biggest question I keep hearing is Jared Goff better since he's been on the Detroit Lions, or was he better with the Rams? Before we get into that, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and of course, you can follow me on all social media at JKBogan. So let's dive into it because, look, I went full speed ahead with my stats. You guys know me. I'm the stats guy. I love stats, but I also watch film. And I don't always put film out there on video because I feel like I'm always going to get copyright claimed, and I do this for a living, so I can't really afford to have any of my videos that I'm spending hours upon hours of research putting into getting copyright claimed. That's why I stay away from that. So let's dive into it. Jared Goff in a nutshell. If you want to know, if someone came to you and asked you, asked you to describe Jared Goff, I would say the guy is practically Joe Montana when he's not touched. I would say the guy is as good as anybody when he's got a clean pocket. And he's amazing when he has a clean pocket and the run game's going well enough to run play action at its best capability. However, Jared Goff is far from a perfect quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. And as a matter of fact, he's played very well since he's gone to the Detroit Lions, and he's been much better than he was with the Rams at the end of his Rams tenure. But let's not forget, he had some years with the Rams, 2017 and 2018, that were very good. But how does it stack up compared to right now? We're going to get into that. Before we do here, I just want to talk about how good he's been when he's kept clean in the pocket. 2023 this year, he's got 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3,334 passing yards, and a 74.8 completion percentage. To put that into perspective, that is one of his best seasons. It's tied for the second most touchdowns thrown in a single season. However, last year, he had 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3,600 yards, 73.4 completion percentage. 2021 is a little interesting because Jared Goff was hurt in his first season with the Lions. 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 2,392 yards, and a 73% completion percentage. 2020 is the year where this was the last year Jared Goff with the Rams. Goff had kind of lost his confidence. I'll say this. He had the Super Bowl loss with the Rams, came back the next year. Sean McVay was trying to do new things to keep that offense one step ahead of the competition. Everyone had it out against the Rams. They wanted to knock Mr. Golden Boy off his post, off his pedestal, and they watched as Bill Belichick did that in the Super Bowl, and they wanted to bury the Rams. Sean McVay knew this, so he was going to change and adapt to what was being thrown at him, which, as we saw, was the Vic Fangio defense. We saw Matt Patricia and the Lions and what they did. So there were different instances on trying to slow down Sean McVay's offense with Jared Goff. And so in 2020, after that 2019 season, 2020, he had really just lost his confidence at that point, was really just kind of a point and shoot, dink and dunk quarterback, didn't feel comfortable testing down the field, and was a far cry from what he was 2 years prior. Even in 2019, and he gets a lot of flack for that. 2019, he was still a gunslinger. 2019, he still was throwing deep down the field. But 2020 is when all bets were off. Sean McVay started noticing that the play action stats, if you will, the play action production was going down for Goff. And that was the thing that he was great at. Once Goff started struggling at the things that he was great at, even when he had to clean pocket, that's when they knew they had to make the move. And I'll say this right now before I continue on with this kept clean stat bunch. The important thing to realize here is that the Rams deserve a lot of credit because there's not many quarterbacks in the league playing at the level of Jared Goff that are getting traded by many teams. Jared Goff was good enough to have been just kept on the roster. He was good enough to keep rolling with. He could have been like Ryan Tannehill, where the Titans are paying him all that money even still. Okay? There are a lot of teams in the league that would have saw Jared Goff's production dip, and they would not have even thought twice about trading him. They would not even have thought about it. It would have been just, let's keep him going. He can help us. Let's build around him. The Rams, they had Super Bowl aspirations. They saw him in the Super Bowl, and it didn't work out that well. But that wasn't the reason they got rid of him. They gave him another 2 years. 2020 wasn't good enough, and they saw a number one defense not go to the next step. So Jared Goff today, was the trade worth it? Absolutely for the Rams and absolutely for the Lions. But getting back into it, 2020, when he was kept clean, as opposed to 2021, 2022, and 2023, where he had 15 touchdowns in 2021, 24 in 2022, and 2023. In 20, he had 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,519 yards, and 74.8 completion percentage. That is not bad when kept clean. When he's not pressured, that's pretty good, honestly. 18 and 6. Okay? It's not the greatest. He was better, recently. He's been better now, but 2020, that's not awful. Okay? 2019, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 3,448 yards, 73.2 completion percentage. I think he got so used to being pressured in 2019 that's what you saw, because believe it or not, we'll talk about it. 2019, he was better than pretty much any of those as far as being pressured. As far as throwing touchdowns, he threw tied for the most in his career when pressured, but he was pressured a lot in 2019. Saffold leaves in free agency. You got Nopum getting hurt, Allen getting hurt. So to be fair, that makes sense. 2018 though, this is important, because again, it's so easy to say he's way better. I hear this narrative all the time. He's way better on the Lions now than he was with Sean McVay. And then it's like, you guys forget, the people that are saying that, you forget how good he was in 2018 and 17. And if he continued to play at that level, he's still the Rams starting quarterback. They didn't just get rid of him because they like Stafford. No, they also had to realize that, look, this wasn't the same Goff anymore. In 2020 versus 2017, completely different quarterback. So 2018, with no pressure, 28 touchdowns, which is a career high, 7 interceptions, 4,332 yards, 71.7 completion percentage. So completion percentage isn't as high as, say, 2023 and 2022, or, 2020 and 2021, but he's taking deeper shots down the field, as you can see, because it's the only year he had over 4,000 yards of, a clean pocket. And that was the Built Ford Tough Offensive Line of the Year award-winning offensive line. So he was kept clean. That team went to the Super Bowl, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That was a perfect offensive line for Jared Goff. 2017, his first year as a legitimate 16-game starter, his first year with a legitimate, competent head coach in offensive mind. 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,029 yards, 70.7 completion percentage. The bottom line is, if you keep Jared Goff clean in the pocket, he's not getting hit, he's not getting pressured, he doesn't have to throw off platform, any of that, his completion percentage, and it shows going back to 2017, is going to stay above 70%. But what happens when he's pressured? 2023, 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 1,240 yards, and a 51.3 completion percentage, which, by the way, is very good. 51.3, for his career. That 9 interceptions, though, is a career high. He's thrown more interceptions under pressure this year than any year in the past. And that includes 2019. That includes 2020. Think about it. Now, we're not counting 2016. I don't even count that. We're not going to use that against Jared. He went 0-7. That offensive line was putrid. That coaching direction was putrid. Todd Gurley called it a high school offense. We want to be fair to Jared. That's what we're going to do. 2022, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 838 yards, 41.9 completion percentage. 2020, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 762 yards, 45.7 completion percentage. 19, he had 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 1,190 yards, 42.3 completion percentage. In 2018, he had 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 1,078 yards, and 42.2 completion percentage. Wait a minute. 2018 was his best year, right? So you mean to tell me that he had more interceptions than touchdowns in every single season at the very least, except for last year, 2017 and 2019? Well, that's interesting. And then 2017, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1,034 yards, and 40.9 completion percentage. Jared Goff was barely pressured in 2017, and he didn't throw picks. He took more chances in 2018, and we saw it. But 2018 is still statistically his best season. Now, let's get into the big-time throws versus turnover-worthy plays, because I got to say this. I know you'll think, okay, for a second, let's be real here. Big time throws, turnover-worthy plays, it is somewhat subjective. It is PFF. There are guys deciding whether or not a play was turnover-worthy or a big-time throw. But the whole point of this metric is that a big-time throw is a big-time throw. It's a tight throw, a small window, and you make the completion, the target percentage, everything is there. It's a nice throw, on target, hard to make, low probability you hit it, right? When you look at a turnover-worthy play, these are plays where anything where it's turnover-worthy. I mean, if you're throwing into 3 triple coverage and there's no receiver there, or there's a receiver deep down the field and you throw it into 3 guys and it gets dropped. You don't get an interception for that, but you have a turnover-worthy play. So, based on this, big-time throws, Jared Goff, he's got 20 this year, okay? He has 17 turnover-worthy plays. 2022, 18 big-time throws, 24 turnover-worthy plays. 2021, 12 big-time throws, 18 turnover-worthy plays. So, since going to the Lions, he's got a total of, let's just do math on the fly here, 50 big-time throws, and he's got 59 turnover-worthy plays, if I'm doing the math correctly. He's had more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws since joining the Lions. But with the Rams, it's interesting here because 2020, he has 14 big-time throws and 20 turnover-worthy plays. Then he has 31 big-time throws. So that's more than at any point that he's ever had with the Lions. 31 in 2019. Like I said, he was a gunslinger in 2019. That was still a 9-7 football team that would have made the playoffs in the 7-team format. That was the last year of the 6 teams, so they didn't make the playoffs. But he was a gunslinger, and the 31 big-time throws and 27 turnover-worthy plays show it. 2018, 39 big-time throws, 30 turnover-worthy plays, 28 big-time throws, and 17 turnover-worthy plays in 2017. So when you look at that, let's just take 2017, 2018, 2019, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of big-time plays. Big-time throws. That is a lot of turnover-worthy plays, right? But more big-time throws. So what's my point here? Why am I saying all this? Which, by the way, that's 98 big-time throws, and we'll say 74. It looks like 74 turnover-worthy plays. Just doing math on the fly from 2017 to 2019. Guys. This goes back to what I was saying. Are we really sure Jared Goff is a better quarterback with the Lions than he is with the Rams? Because he's absolutely better than 2020. But if you look at those first 3 years with McVay, I mean, he was asked to do more and did more, right? 20 big-time throws with the Lions. He's not put in those positions. He's not given those opportunities. I mean, to be honest with you, I still feel, and I watch the tape, and I'm like, Goff is good, but you can still see that's still the same Jared Goff. He's just not being asked to do as much as he had to do with Sean McVay. And you'll say this, well, Sean McVay was talking in his ear. Sean McVay had a bunch of rub routes. Sean McVay had Todd Gurley. Yes, that's all true. That is all true. However, Sean McVay asked him to go deep down the field. Sean McVay asked him to throw in between, 2 defenders and get it to Brandon Cooks and get to Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods and so forth. See, he had better weapons in LA, and that does somewhat skew the stats. But Jared Goff was a better quarterback in LA in the sense that he was going to be asked to do more, and he was going to do more. And the thing that I look at when I'm watching the Lions is that a lot of his guys are open, and a lot of the time when I'm watching them, really good offensive line, but his issue is if he holds on to the ball longer than 2.5 seconds, his production drops significantly. And I just feel like he had more of a quick trigger with the Rams back in 2017, 2018, and 2019. I feel like some of the throws he made, like go back to the Vikings game, week 4 in the 2018 season, he had, and I always say this, Jared Goff played the best quarterback game I've ever seen in my life. And I've watched Tom Brady. I've watched Aaron Rodgers. I've watched Matthew Stafford. I've had the privilege of watching Kurt Warner and Peyton Manning and so forth. I mean, Jared Goff on Thursday Night Football against the Vikings, week 4, 2018. I don't know if I've ever seen quarterback play better than that. He was perfect that night. And he was asked to make throws deep down the field. Like, that's what I'm saying. So then it brings me to my point here, the average depth of target, which kind of is a little bit of a tell. Okay? 2023, Jared Goff averages 7.3 average depth of target yards. So average target for him is 7.3 yards. Last year was 7.6. 2021 was 6.8. 2020 was 6.8. But if you go back to 2017, 2018, and 2019, 17, 8.7. 2018, 9.2. 2019, 8 yards. What am I getting at? I'm getting at the fact that Sean McVay trusted him to go deep down the field more. Jared Goff had more leeway. Jared Goff did more than the receivers. The receivers still did a lot, but Jared Goff, those yards, the in-air yards, right? He's putting that ball where it needs to be. And obviously, again, 2020, not great. That was when he lost all his confidence. 2021, he's still trying to get that confidence back. 2022, Ben Johnson takes over as offensive line coach, offensive coordinator from past game coordinator. And now all of a sudden you're starting to see some things. So what do I take away from average depth of target? Well, I'll tell you this right now. This is no knock on Jared Goff. If anything, it's giving him credit. When he was with the Rams, Sean McVay had no issue going deep down the field. I mean, 9.2 yards of average depth of target in 2018 is insane. And now it's 7.3, which tells me that really Jared Goff has kind of turned into a Kyle Shanahan type of quarterback. They have a great scheme with the Lions, but Jared Goff is not going deep down the field consistently. He's getting to Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's getting it to Sam Laporta. He's getting it to a Josh Reynolds. He's getting it to a Jameson Williams, a Khalif Raymond, if you will. And don't forget about Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And what he's doing is he's getting them on the quick slants over the middle because he is obsessed with throwing over the middle of the field, and I'll get into that. And what's happening is a lot of the same things we see with the 49ers and how they were great with Garoppolo and all those pass catchers and how they basically molded a team full of guys that can win after the catch. George Kittle. You look at Deebo Samuel. You look at Brandon Ayuk. They're all filled out. Christian McCaffrey. They're all filled out. They can make plays after the catch. They can break tackles. Yards after the catch. They're yak machines. So is Amon-Ra St. Brown. And so is Sam Laporta. And so are all of these guys. So that's what's happening with Jared Goff. He's not throwing deep down the field as much. The air yards aren't as there as they were back in the day, but we're seeing more yards after the catch. So he's working within the confines of the system, and he's doing a really good job. And am I calling him a system quarterback? Not entirely, because I think he's doing a really good job. But the question that I keep being asked, the question that I keep seeing asked is he better now than he was with Sean McVay and the Rams? And so far, what I've told you, and I have plenty more where that came from, I don't know if that to be true. If you're saying 2020 or 2019, I'll give you. 2018, that was Goff's best year, and I would stand by that. Anyway, let's move on. You go to passer rating, 97.9 in 2023, 99.3 last year, which is another thing. I'll say Jared Goff was better last year than he is this year, although he's really good this year. 2021, 91.5, 2020, 90.9, 2019, 86.5, 2018, 96.4, and 2017, 98.5. What am I taking away from this? Well, in reality, I wanted to show you this because passer rating is somewhat overrated. He has a 90.9 rating in 2020. But do you realize that Jared Goff in 2020, he was dinking and dunking? He had like a 67 completion percentage. I mean, 68 maybe. That's the problem, is that he's a gunslinger in 2019. I thought he played better than 2020. He put way more on the line in 2019, and he's got the worst passer rating of his career. But I thought he played better in 2019 than he did in 2020 and maybe even 2021. That's worth mentioning. Play action numbers. All right, this is where it gets interesting, okay? 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1,502 yards, and a 70% completion percentage right now, 2023. Okay? That's pretty good. I mean, guy rarely gets picked off in play action, which that's how it should be, but you never know. Last year, however, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1,427 yards, and 69.9 completion percentage. Again, really good. Jared Goff thrives in play action, especially when he has time to throw it. 2021, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 785 yards, 69.2 completion percentage. Right on track. He missed a few games in 2021, so that checks out. In 2020, 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 1,513 yards, 67.2 completion percentage. So 2020 play action, he wasn't awful, but it wasn't the Jared that you're used to. In 2019, they kind of went away from play action, at least his comfortability. I felt like he was just a better quarterback in that time. At least it felt that way. Non-play action, because 2019, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 1,703 yards, and 63.1 completion percentage. So he was getting picked off and wasn't throwing a ton of touchdowns like he's used to. 2018 was his best year. He had 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2,322 yards, and a 61.9 completion percentage. The completion percentage bit is so overrated because when you think about it, you know, you could just keep dinking and dunking and you could go 14 to 15, right? But the degree of difficulty on the throws he's making in 2018, that's why I'm so impressed with the 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2,300 of his yards, play action. And it's not a surprise to anybody. It's not a shock to anybody. Anyone that knows Sean McVay and just this offense, I mean, he was better with play action. That's what he was known for. 2017. 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1,451 yards, and a 60 completion percentage. So he became more accurate, took a larger degree of difficulty, took more riskier throws, more big-time throws in 2018, and his numbers literally shot up. So what will I say? I mean, it was 2018 Goff really not better than what he is right now? I'm just saying. Okay, how about the non-play action numbers? This is interesting here. So Goff in 2023, 20 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 3,072 yards, 66.3 completion percentage. Not bad. Second most touchdowns of his career. A lot of interceptions, though. A lot of interceptions. Over 3,000 yards. Hasn't been all play action. Pretty solid all around, but the interceptions at 11, that's pretty high. 2022, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 3,011 yards, 63.3 completion percentage. I like the interceptions, a career high, as in a career low, which is the thing that you want to have low, 4 interceptions. Interestingly enough, the 7 touchdowns he's lacking from this year, and then the completion percentage has gone up by 3 if you're looking at 2023. So interesting stuff there. 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,460 yards, and 66.7 completion percentage. So that is also tied for a career high. With that, I find that very intriguing. 2021, interesting year. 2020, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 2,768 yards, 66.7 completion percentage. Again, tied for the career high in completion percentage, dinking and dunking. Pretty much both seasons, I would say he wasn't really, he was still building that confidence back. 2019, 18 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 2,935 yards, 62.9 completion percentage. Like I said, 2019 was a straight gunslinger. He was just throwing it down the field. And again, it was a tough year, like losing Noteboom, losing Allen, not having Saffold. That was the Super Bowl hangover year, and they went 9-7 and still should have made the playoffs. They faltered down the stretch. 2018, 17 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 3,078 yards, 64.3 completion percentage. This is fascinating. It really shows you that 2018 was really the play action year for him. He did such a great job when, he was, required to run play action, and, without play action, 12 interceptions is a career high for him. And 17 touchdowns is not a career high for him. It's the fourth most of his career. So that's something to keep in mind. 2017, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,612 yards, 61.8 completion percentage. What do we take away? 2017, not as accurate. A career high for touchdowns, no play action. So a career high, no play action touchdowns in 2017. And 6 interceptions, which is tied for the second lowest of his career there. Goff is really, really, really good in play action. He's really good when he's protected. When he's not in play action, he's still a solid quarterback. When he's pressured and not in play action, then it's a problem. So this brings me to my next point here. Jared Goff is a predictable quarterback. That is what is really holding him back from... I'll say this. He has a chance to be a great, even an elite quarterback. And we've seen signs of that. You went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes in 2018 and you beat him, okay? You put up 54 points with your team. You helped do that. And that was Todd Gurley got hurt mid-game and no Cooper Kupp. So a lot of credit to Goff. Goff has shown you signs. Like the Vikings game I brought up. He's shown you signs of being an elite quarterback. But what's stopping him? Again, he's too predictable. I could literally write a report, very simple, on, less than 400 words about what Jared Goff is. But this next thing that you might not know is a big deal. And it's passing depth. And I did a lot of research. Hopefully you guys enjoy this because I did a shit ton of research on all this. But Jared Goff has thrown 17,959 passing yards of his 31,729 career total yards passing, including the playoffs, over the middle of the field in some capacity. And that includes whether it's short, that includes behind the line of scrimmage, that includes the deep, and that includes the intermediate section of the field. Jared Goff throws over the middle. More than half of his throws. 56. More than 56%. Jared Goff is throwing over the middle in some capacity. So, what do we take away from this? He's always been that. But the fact of the matter is, I've already answered the question. The fact is, in 2018, 2017, there is a legitimate argument that Goff was a better quarterback under Sean McVay than he is with Ben Johnson. Now, as he matured, the natural ability of his quarterback play, he became more accurate. However, again, we don't see the levels of the assignments, the difficulties of the assignments aren't as difficult as they were. Some of those throws he had to make were way more difficult than what he's currently having to make consistently. Because again, 39 big-time throws, 31 in 2019, and 28 in 2017 is a lot more than what they had with him do with the Lions. And it took, when he was with the Rams, it took until 2020, his last year with the Rams, obviously not counting 2016. 2020 is last year with Sean McVay and the Rams. That was his first year having more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws. So, my point here. Why am I bringing this up? The Rams are playing the Lions. Why am I talking about Jared Goff? He's not the Rams quarterback. This is a Rams-Lions debate. This is a Rams-Lions hot topic. Because people keep saying, and they keep pretending, and they keep constantly talking about how Sean McVay left him and the Lions brought him to a level he's never been before. Sean McVay moved on from him, and his confidence was shot. And we don't know what 2021 looks like, but I can tell you right now, that season does not end in a Lombardi trophy being hoisted up by Jared Goff if he stayed with the Rams. So, if you want to say that he got back to where he was, that's fair. But I see a lot of this better. And the fact of the matter is the tape and the stats don't prove that. He might be as good, but he's definitely not better. And that's okay. That's a consistent quarterback right there. He got over his yips in 2020. In 2021, he got hurt. He was on a bad team. And 2022, he was finally on a team that could compete. He had some weapons. He had an offensive line. And voila, what do you know? He's back to being really good. Jared Goff is a really good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback because he's, like I said, going back to the passing depth. 56% of his throws are over the middle. He doesn't work off script. When you pressure him, he folds. Jared Goff naturally is very talented. His arm talent is great. He's one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league this year, if you look. Despite the turnover-worthy plays. What I'll say is this. Going into this game, the Rams have to pressure him, and they can't necessarily just throw blitzes at him because he's good at that. Goff is not Stafford. If you look at Stafford's spray chart, you look at Goff's spray chart as far as the passes throughout his career. Stafford's all over the field, balancing it out. Jared Goff is going to be mainly coloring the middle of the field. And that's it. Does it make him a bad quarterback? No. But if you're constantly throwing to a specific area more than half the time, I have to question the idea that anyone would call you elite. The Rams made the right move. The Lions made the right move. Jared Goff has a home with the Lions. My concern as a football fan, though, and if you're a Jared Goff fan, is that what's going to happen when Ben Johnson leaves? 2021 might have been a bad year. Not a ton of great talent around him. He got hurt. But also 2021 didn't have Ben Johnson as offensive coordinator. Has Goff really matured enough where he could be fine no matter who's his offensive coordinator? Or is Ben Johnson doing kind of what Sean McVay did? We're going to find that out. But appreciate you guys tuning in. I spent a lot of time on this research. I know I got through it pretty quickly. It's not like it's an hour video like my old stuff used to be. But yeah, I feel really good about this game. And you know what? I feel really good that this worked out for both sides. Because no matter what happens on Sunday, the Lions, as long as Goff is going to be okay with another OC, because Ben Johnson's gone after the year, then the Lions really made out well in this trade, right? You can't take that away. The purpose of this video was to crush the notion that Ben Johnson brought him to this upper echelon status that he's never been at. And the way people forget about his 2018 season is mind-boggling to me, because his 2018 season is really good. Really good. So that's what I'll say there. I think, end of the day, I really do believe that the Rams made the right decision. It wasn't easy. I give them a lot of credit because I think a lot of teams that are constantly looking for head coaches and that are constantly picking in the top 15, a lot of those same teams would still have Jared Goff, even when he was going through that hard time. And I understand some people might not like it. You stick by the guy, and maybe he turns it around. And absolutely, it was still very possible. But it's more so the Rams knew their timeline. They knew that they had to win with Aaron Donald. You don't find Aaron Donald in the draft and not win a Super Bowl with that level of talent. And that's what they did. And you have to win with Sean McVay. So now here we are. They're playing each other. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford. Gonna have some fun watching it. Hope you guys enjoyed. You can follow me at JK Bogan. If you disagree, let me know. I have no issue hearing anybody disagreeing with my content. Mind you, I only gave stats, so I didn't make up any of this. But yeah, disagree away. Be sure to like the video if it interests you in any sort of way. It really does help out the algorithm. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I have plenty more content like this, and that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys. You guys take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.
Start playing Pick'em or Weekly Fantasy for any sport today, Jake. Users will receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 if they use promo code OTE at sign up. Start playing Pick'em and Weekly Fantasy Football today with Underdog Fantasy.
Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.